When Scotland's First Minister demands a salute from a steadfast royal guard, a fleeting moment at Holyrood House sparks a national clash between political power and timeless tradition. Before we dive into this captivating tale, please subscribe to our channel for more stories that bring history and drama to life. Drop a comment below to let us know where you're tuning in from, Edinburgh, Glasgow, or perhaps across the globe. Your support keeps these stories alive, so hit that like button and share with your friends. Now, let's step into the misty courtyard of Holyrood House and uncover the moment that sets Scotland abuzz. In the misty dawn of Edinburgh, where bagpipes hum and ancient stones whisper, a lone royal guard stands sentinel, unaware that today will test the weight of tradition. The mist hung low over Edinburgh, curling around the ancient stones of Holyrood House like a whispered secret. It was July 3rd, 2025, and the Palace of Holyrood House, the King's official residence in Scotland, buzzed with anticipation. King Charles III was in residence for Royal Week, a time when the monarchy's presence in Scotland was celebrated with pomp and ceremony. The courtyard was a flurry of activity. Pipers tuned their bagpipes, their drones humming like the pulse of the city, while members of the Royal Company of Archers, resplendent in their dark green tunics, prepared for the day's events. At the heart of it all stood a lone royal guard, a young man named Corporal Alastair MacLeod, his red tunic pristine, his bearskin hat unmoved by the damp air, and his eyes fixed forward in the unyielding stare of tradition. John Swinney steps into Holyrood House, carrying Scotland's burdens and a hope for unity, as a royal meeting sets the stage for an unexpected clash. John Swinney, Scotland's First Minister, had arrived at Holyrood House that morning for a private audience with the King, a routine engagement to discuss matters of devolved governance. Swinney, a seasoned politician and leader of the Scottish National Party, had been First Minister since May 2024. Known for his measured demeanor and commitment to public service, he carried the weight of a nation still grappling with economic challenges, political divisions, and the ever-present question of independence. Today, however, was meant to be a moment of unity, a ceremonial nod to the shared history of Scotland and the Crown. The meeting had gone well, with Swinney and the King discussing everything from renewable energy to the cultural significance of the new memorial stone for Queen Elizabeth II, unveiled that very week at St. Giles Cathedral. A simple whim from Scotland's First Minister, Corporal, a salute, if you please, hangs in the air, threatening to unravel centuries of ceremonial protocol. As Swinney emerged from the palace, his aide, Fiona Campbell, walked briskly beside him, her tablet glowing with the day's schedule. The courtyard was quieter now, the official ceremonies having concluded earlier. Only a handful of staff and the stoic royal guard remained, stationed at the palace's main entrance. Alastair MacLeod, a Highlander born and bred, had served in the Scots Guard for 5 years, his dedication to duty matched only by his pride in his heritage. His role today was ceremonial but sacred, to stand as a symbol of the monarchy's enduring presence, unwavering and impartial. Swinney, still buoyed by the cordial meeting with the King, paused as he approached the guard. He had always been fascinated by the pageantry of royal tradition, though his politics leaned toward a future where Scotland might stand apart from such symbols. On a whim, perhaps spurred by the formality of the day or a fleeting desire to test the boundaries of his own authority, Swinney turned to Alastair and said, "Corporal, a salute, if you please." Beneath his bearskin, Corporal Alastair MacLeod's jaw tightens as he faces a choice: salute the First Minister or stand firm for the crown he swore to serve. The words hung in the air, sharp and unexpected. Fiona froze, her stylus hovering over her tablet. The few staff members nearby exchanged glances, unsure if they had heard correctly. Alastair MacLeod, however, did not move. His eyes remained fixed on the horizon, his posture rigid, his rifle steady. To an outsider, it might have seemed as though he hadn't heard the First Minister at all, but Swinney knew better. The guard's silence was deafening. "Corporal," Swinney repeated, his tone firmer but still laced with the congeniality that had defined his public persona. "I'm the First Minister of Scotland. I've just met with His Majesty. A salute is in order." Alistair's jaw tightened, the only sign of life beneath his bearskin. He knew the protocol better than most. The royal guard saluted the monarch, senior royals, and certain high-ranking military officers during specific ceremonial contexts. The First Minister, while a figure of immense authority in Scotland, was not on that list. To salute Swinney would be to break centuries of tradition, to blur the line between the Crown's ceremonial guard and the political sphere. Alistair's mind raced, recalling his training at Catterick, where his sergeant had drilled into him the importance of neutrality. The guard is the Crown's, not the government's, the sergeant had barked. You salute the king, not the man who thinks he's king. In the silent courtyard, Swinney's authority meets Alistair's conviction, and a young soldier's quiet refusal sends ripples through Scotland's capital. Swinney's smile faltered. He was no stranger to resistance. His tenure had been marked by criticism over everything from budget cuts to by-election losses. But this was different. This was personal, a public slight in the heart of Scotland's capital. Fiona leaned in, whispering, "Sir, perhaps we should move on. The car is waiting." But Swinney held up a hand. "No, Fiona. I'd like to understand this." He stepped closer to Alistair, his voice low but deliberate. "Corporal, I represent the people of Scotland. Surely a gesture of respect is not too much to ask." For the first time, Alistair's eyes flicked towards Swinney, a brief, piercing glance that held neither defiance nor disrespect, but something deeper, conviction. "With respect, sir," Alistair said, his Highland accent soft but steady, "my duty is to the Crown. I salute the king, as is my charge. No more, no less." The courtyard seemed to hold its breath. Swinney's face reddened, not with anger, but with the sting of being corrected, however politely. He was a man who had navigated the treacherous waters of Scottish politics for decades, from the fallout of Nicola Sturgeon's resignation to the SNP's recent electoral setbacks. He was used to commanding respect, yet here was a young soldier, barely 25, standing firm on principle. As Swinney retreats, Edinburgh's whispers ignite a firestorm on X, turning a fleeting moment into a national debate over power and tradition. Fiona, sensing the moment's potential to spiral, stepped forward. "First Minister, we have a press conference at Bute House in 30 minutes. Shall we?" Swinney nodded slowly, his eyes still on Alistair. "Very well, Corporal. Carry on." He turned and walked toward the waiting car, his polished shoes clicking against the cobblestones. Fiona followed, already drafting a mental note to ensure this incident stayed out of the press. But Edinburgh was a city of whispers, and by evening, the story had spread. The incident became a lightning rod. On X, posts flew back and forth, some praising Alistair's adherence to tradition, others decrying Swinney's request as an overreach of political ego. "Swinney thinks he's royalty now?" One user quipped, while another wrote, "The guard did his duty. Respect the lad for standing his ground." The Scottish Daily Express, never shy about criticizing the SNP, ran a headline, "Swinney salute snub. First Minister left red-faced at Holyrood House." The article speculated that the incident reflected Swinney's desperation to assert authority amid falling approval ratings, citing a recent Ipsos poll showing his net approval at -17. From a fisherman's son to a symbol of duty, Alistair MacLeod captures Scotland's imagination, while Swinney grapples with the fallout of his impulsive request. In the days that followed, Alistair MacLeod became an unlikely figure of public fascination. A profile in the Scotsman revealed his background. Raised in a small village near Fort William, son of a fisherman, and the first in his family to serve in the Scots Guards. He had no interest in politics, friends said, but a deep sense of duty shaped by stories of his great-grandfather, who had fought at Dunkirk. Alistair himself declined interviews, stating through his commanding officer that he had simply followed protocol. Swinney, for his part, addressed the incident at a press conference 2 days later, his tone light, but carefully crafted. "I have the utmost respect for the Royal Guard and their traditions," he said, standing at a podium in Bute House. "It was a misunderstanding, nothing more. My focus remains on serving the people of Scotland." Behind closed doors, however, Aides reported that Swinney was frustrated, not with Alastair, but with himself. He had acted on impulse, they said, and underestimated the symbolic weight of his request. In Edinburgh's pubs, over pints of tenants, the story of the guard who refused to salute lingers, a testament to the clash between politics and principle. The story might have faded, as political anecdotes often do, but it lingered in the public imagination. For some, it was a tale of a young soldier's quiet courage, a reminder that tradition could stand firm against the tides of politics. For others, it was a misstep by a first minister grappling with a challenging tenure, from budget concerns to accusations of mismanaging public services. In the pubs of Edinburgh, debates raged over pints of tenants. Was Swinney right to expect a salute? Was Alastair a hero, or just stubborn? Alastair MacLeod returned to his duties, standing guard at Holyrood House and later at Edinburgh Castle, his expression as unchanging as ever. But those who knew him noticed a quiet pride in his step, a sense that he had upheld something larger than himself. Swinney, meanwhile, continued his work, navigating the complexities of governing a divided nation. The mist over Edinburgh lifted, but the story of the guard who refused to salute became a small, enduring chapter in Scotland's ever-evolving tale.